Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I am a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic is an urgent message from the divine masculine to the divine feminine. And I'll share how this came about, but it is very urgent. I actually had recorded another video to produce for this week, and at the last minute, over the last 24 hours, this came through as a very urgent message, to the point where before I go to town early in the morning, I will only have time to edit and produce and get this one posted for you. And rather than producing that one, this one's coming ahead and to being asked to share with you. A couple pieces play into this. We have the new moon in Virgo today, and this is September the 20th, 2017. It is kind of dependent upon where your time frames are, whether it fell on the 19th or the 20th. But this is also leading up to the fall equinox here coming up on the 23rd of September 2017. I was shown back in June of 2017 that we have a portal opening for reunion of twin flames coming and starting on September 22nd going through December 22nd. And this timing of this combination of equinox, this new moon, this portal coming through is where the alignment of this message is coming through to share with you. And so a couple things. I'm going to go into like an energy report a little bit for the astrological, just briefly. I don't want to spend a lot of time there because there's much more information to dive into that, for my purposes of teaching and delivering, is got another place for that, because I know there's a lot of people out there doing astrology reports for this that you can get that information from them. But there's some highlights that I do want to point out and how it connects to my topic for today. And that being that from an astrological standpoint, we have, like I said, the new moon in Virgo today. And, you know, Virgos are about healing right now. Being in the 5th house is I heal. But because of where we've been in this alignment, we're piggybacking off of the Lion's Gate coming through, also the eclipse and the total eclipse of the heart I've talked about. Now we're talking about healing the heart, healing love, and shifting that and bringing it into form from the 5D into the 3D. And that's why it's important to use this portal of energy to your advantage, because by doing so and bringing it into form, Virgo is all about the fine-tuning the details that we need to step up to the plate and plug the leaks, basically, so that it helps us to recreate from this. Like, we're starting here with this new moon and this portal going forward with a clean slate, a new picture, a new beginning. And so we're being asked now to put into implementation those new templates and the new ways of doing things, so that, you know, we can actually heal this love with the divine feminine, the divine masculine within, as well as in the reunion of the divine feminine and masculine, not just in the 5D, but also in the 3D. Now, I'm also seeing how this plays into effect with, you know, our beloveds and the twin flame dynamic, is that the key here is, for twin flames, is harmonic balance in this time frame. Creating a harmonic balance within self to create the harmonic balance within the reunion of the union of self and the reunion with the beloved. And that's fine-tuning those masculine and feminine energies from within. And then also healing, again, those masculine and feminine energies with your beloved, and creating harmony in the actual union and this reunion. There's some blocks that are like creating separation here, I should say, in the union itself. So there's been so much work done in the divine feminine that's shifting the divine masculine, now they're starting to face each other, and by facing each other, now it's harmonizing what is between themselves. And to do that, I've been saying for a while that the divine masculine is, facing the man in the mirror. And again, I don't, when I say that, I want to say this again. I'm not referencing gender here. I'm really, when I say these things, I want you to know that I'm referring to energy. And I might say, the masculine being the man in the mirror, but just know that that's just me speaking, because it technically normally isn't like the majority of the time. Doesn't mean that that's the actual case though. So just so you're clear on that. But so I've been saying that the divine masculine is facing the man in the mirror for a while. And I've also had my situation going on with my dog Champ that's came through like just before the Lion's Gate, that has helped me go through this shift and change to help shift the energy, not only for myself, not only for my own dynamic, but also for the collective. And I've had so much confirmation that Champ represents the divine masculine and collective. I'm going to share a little bit more about that here shortly. But those of you that followed me, my original court date was supposed to have been yesterday and has been moved to October 3rd as of now. Now, I also know why, as of yesterday, I know why that got moved to the 3rd from an energetic standpoint. I also have had him coming through with major, massive messages for me. And I'm going to share that with you coming through from him. But what I want to say is, I ran across, not last night, but the night before, I ran across a picture of him, and he's looking in the mirror, and I had taken a picture. I'm going to put the picture up here for you to see, okay? That way you can see what I'm talking about. So this was like a confirmation for me, Champ representing the divine masculine, and these messages that, he's facing the man in the mirror, and he's doing that right now. And again, I'll share more information in a little bit. I don't want to get too off track on that right now. But this is kind of like some of the energy over the last 24 hours. I've had massive, massive codes. I've had massive, massive downloads, massive, massive upgrades. And it's been very expansive and on a beautiful way is really a good way to put it. And I can feel the love. Like even in the last probably 24, 48 hours, I've had these surges of like this healing and love like coming in that it's so blissful. I've even had several clients this week tell me they're feeling this bliss. Like liquid love is what I call it, just running through the body. And it's the energy that means that the channels are open. I've seen a lot of people that's been having blocks, between their higher self and their lower self energetically, helping to open those blocks and bring in that higher divine energy. So as it is in heaven, so it is on earth, and getting that grounded in so we can bring it into form and help heal. So that's been a really big thing that's been happening this week too. So basically, what the key here is, before I kind of move on just a little bit, is the divine masculine facing themselves in the mirror is a representation of the divine feminine needing to also face self in the mirror. And not that they haven't worked on self, but using the divine masculine as their mirror image. Now, that has happened in the past. It's nothing new. It's nothing different. We've needed to use the divine masculine's energy and look at them and see within them. And I've said this so many times before, what you see in your beloved, your divine masculine, your significant other, and in all relationships, really, what you see in others is what mirrors back that you need to look at within yourself. So in this time frame, the reason I'm saying it's so much more important to face the mirror, and when I say face the mirror, not just face yourself in the mirror, facing really your twin in the mirror now and looking at the lessons. And the reason this is important at this time frame is because of this healing the divine love, healing the sacred heart, and also because of being in this new phase, these new templates, these new beginnings, and being in this Virgo energy to where it is fine-tuning the details. So it's like the divinity is in the details now. We've been saying all along, kind of don't focus on like too much of the details, kind of go with the big picture. And we've had to do that in order to trust this process. Now it's like we're going back and we're plugging those leaks. And we have 5 planets in Virgo helping us do this. We have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So with Venus and Mars, like being in this Virgo, that is also the balance again. You know, Venus represents the feminine side, Mars represents the masculine energies here. And again, coming in together to harmonize those, as I was saying. And this, you know, as we know, new moons and new beginnings, the equinox is always this great time to set new intentions and to do it, you know, from our heart and not our head, to let go of the critical thinking as we've done in the past. And also another thing, because of this, you know, Virgo is earth element. And that helps to, like, in this time frame of what we're healing, is we're healing the DNA of our lineage, of our family and generational curses and the cultures and the strongholds that like we've had from the parental controls. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that too in a minute. And the divine masculine has been healing the wounds with the mother, and being able to, for the first time, step up and not only see self in the mirror and willing not to run, but to see the divine feminine for who she is and start to want to respect her and start to want to see her for the worth that she brought to the table. And they're feeling guilty for some of the things that they've done, and they're feeling very sorry, and they're having to face that man in the mirror for that now, and look within, you know, the aspect of how their own feminine side. So they're not only healing and waking up the masculine that's been shut down, of learning how to speak their truth and create their own worth and to be the man, so to speak. They're also now healing their own feminine side. And they're, for once, ready to kind of come in and rise up and step up to the plate. It's coming, okay? Step up to the plate and bring forth love and share that. But then here's where I'm saying it's so important for the divine feminine to get this message, is because the divine feminine is still being attached to some of the wounds, still being attached to some of the history, attached to some of the pain, and is preventing the divine feminine from, sorry, I just needed to check something right there. Preventing the divine feminine from being open to receiving this unconditional love and being worthy of it, okay? Worthy of receiving and deserving of it. And that means there's still some healing within the divine feminine to be open to receive. As much as the divine feminine is asking, and as much as the divine feminine has healed, and as much as the divine feminine is kind of stepping up in self-empowerment and self-respect, there's still this open to receive that's the block. And it's a piece that's still preventing the like union, I should say, or reunion, I should say, with their beloved. And so therefore, it's going to be very important you use this time frame to look within the mirror of your divine partner and go face to face. So the fears aren't looking in necessarily the individual mirrors anymore. Also, it is that in one aspect to continue to plug the leaks, but at the same time, we're doing this to each other. And as we're doing this with each other, then what that's doing is instead of pointing the fingers back and forth anymore, it's about looking within that mirror towards each other and saying, what do I own? What do I own in this? What do I own? And the more you go ahead and own up with what's in that mirror, you're facing your beloved, the more your beloved is also going to face you. Okay. And then in addition to that, so this is not only going to heal the remainder pieces of self, it's going to create that being open to receive. It's going to create the concept and the idea of the knowing of this unconditional love only in 5D, but like learning how to love in the 3D and bringing that into form, into the anchoring it into the ground and into the planet, and being able to shift our focus and give birth to divine love. And, you know, Virgo is all about planting seeds and cultivating and being able to then harvest coming up, which is what this time frame I'm being shown with this portals of starting at 9/22 is. This is harvest. This is coming in and doing the harvest. So, all right. So now, with that being said, I want to shift gears now and share with you a little bit about how this topic like really came up to like really what the message is from the divine masculine. So after I saw Champ's picture that really struck a chord with me about the divine masculine facing the man in the mirror, and now, you know, yesterday being the day that like I should have been gone to court with Champ, it was bringing up a lot of emotions within me, these healing emotions, and in some aspects a sense of being let down because, you know, technically it's like, okay, this is the day we were supposed to go to court, but then also believing and trusting in the process and knowing that there's divine order and knowing that there's a reason things got shifted and changed. And this was the night before last. And so when I released that and surrendered that, and all these codes and signs then came in to show me why, and I won't go into that here because it's very detailed and very specific to a lot of pieces in my own dynamic, as well as things I'll be sharing in upcoming books and things like that, potential new messages to come through. But I had been messaging the lady Mariella Alberts in the Netherlands that's been working on Champ, and I told you she was doing the Quest 4 testing with a machine she has on Champ, and she did this back in the beginning of August, and she was picking up on his energy, and she had confirmed at that time that it was not my imagination, that Champ and the combination with my energy with Champ was healing not just our own dynamic here, but for the collective. And so through some messaging, I had this, you know, messaged her, and it was like we felt like with this moon energy, we both kind of were feeling this. It's time to retest Champ and see where he's at. And so she did some testing on him, and the testing showed he was imbalanced now, and he had shifted a lot of these energies, but she was able to take those energies and put them in within her system, print this report that gave her like his emotional status and his exact emotions at this moment, at this time, space, and energy. And being it represents the divine masculine energy, I want to share that with you because it feels like it is, and this is loud and clear because I've had confirmation more than once, including, I was going to say, it feels like it's a message to the collective, to the divine feminine from the divine masculine. All right, let me finish that statement. Then I want to tell you, as I'm preparing for this, and Mariella and I had like an emergency session today to come together to go through this information and to discuss these things and to kind of like do some healing for the collective as a whole. So she's saying when she's been working on Champ and she's done energy work on Champ, it's been also not just integrating into Champ, it's been helping to heal the divine collective of the divine masculine. And Champ is also taking on healing for the divine feminine collectively too, and I'll share that in a minute. And because I'm going to share the report becomes the message here is the point. But anyway, as I'm preparing for this, and Marielle and I had this meeting today, and I have to say one other thing. I had a client that was scheduled in this time frame that was my own personal client with a client. And when Mariella said, I've tested this, You've got to see this. Can we get together today? And she's like, this is urgent. And she's like, gave this to me. And I said, you know, that works because I had a client move that was supposed to have been there in that time and doesn't even normally move, that asked to move. It opened up the space. We were supposed to get together. We were supposed to bring this energy into form. We were supposed to bring this out and create this message to go forward during this time frame with these moon energies and this vortex and this portal that's opening for doing feminine and masculine to go through the portal for merger and harmony. So now what I was going to say next is that I had another client as right after I got out of the meeting with Mariella, I had a client that messaged me an image of a bunny rabbit facing itself in the mirror. And it was, I won't put that one up and show you necessarily. I probably should have printed it off just to show you because it's so cute. But it was the same thing saying, and it said like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And the bunny rabbit is sitting there looking at itself in the mirror, just like Champ was. So I found that to be very, very confirming as I was preparing for this video to share as an urgent message. It's like, yep, that's urgent. This is like, I'm on track with this. So all right, so I want to say one more thing before I go through the report, the emotional status of the divine masculine, and what the way we're going to do that is we're going to do that where this is the report saying this is the message and where the energy is for the divine masculine and collectively. But then we're going to flip that and see on the ones we can, where does the divine feminine fit into that role, and what does the divine feminine need to look at within self, within the same aspects of themselves. Because I want to say another thing about that too that's coming through just now. So sometimes we're in dualities. The divine masculine may be carrying the darkness. The divine feminine's carrying the enlightenment. The divine feminine has had to come down in that enlightenment to create the space to open up for the masculine to take some of the light. And that's where a lot of the divine feminine have been going back down and going within deeper, or going back down and going, you know, and I've had at least 3 to 5 clients this week say the word that they're going into a dark hole, and that they feel like they're going in this hole. And so that hole is coming back into the depths of the dark, giving the space for the divine masculine to also come in and to like take some of the light, basically. So that's one reason why I feel like what I've been shown is that's where some of these shadows are coming back in for the divine feminine, if they are. Also, keep in mind, everybody is on their own path and their own journey at their own level, at their own space and at their own time. And this is not cookie cutter. But what I am sharing here and presenting here is what I'm seeing with the masses, what I'm seeing with the collective of where the majority are. Okay, so not everybody might fit into this, but this is where I'm seeing the majority. You might be falling maybe outside of this category in like the higher realms. You might be falling into some of the darker work that you're still having to clear some things. But regardless, it's all part of the process. And I am seeing so many people are doing it all at the same time. So they're cleansing, clearing. They're also then raising their conscious vibration, and they're expanding all at the same time and integrating this. And they're still doing their 3D cleanup. At the same time, they're going into this full enlightenment. And it's like really cool because to me, from what I've seen from the time in the era, I mean, I've said this is lightning, went from fast track to lightning speed, even just in the last few months to, I don't even know what to how to like label it or give a term for it past lightning speed, because but I can tell you it's greater than that. I guess, you know, maybe you know, kind of like that alien speed, you know, how fast the alien can shift up and out, like with the starseed type energy. All right, and so in this facing each other now, I already knew this also, and I had a session with a client last night, and I pulled this card for her session, and whenever I was actually going through, just before I was hitting record, this card got stuck up under something over here, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh, this was stuck for a reason. So this is a card. This is actually from my deck of cards, the Twin Flame Code Breaker deck. And we're creating here the Holy Grail code. We're facing each other to bring in the light now. That is creating the gift of the unconditional love vibration of us going up in our Christ consciousness. And as it is in heaven, so it is on earth, bringing it in all at the same time. So when I say this, I want you to remember what I said. There's two aspects, and it's all happening at the same time. We are each facing divine masculine, divine feminine, are facing individual selves in the mirror. But because of the role reversals and the time frame we're in, and this portal of energy, it's flipping and facing each other at the same time. Okay? It can get quite intense, especially this is why a lot of people are not sure if what they're processing anymore is their own baggage or their divine partner's baggage that they're clearing. My personal self, as well as a lot of clients this week, have had these shifts. I've even had 3 to 5 people mention that over the last, between this weekend and the weekend before, that there were karmic partners that was being still like cleared, as in they came, like they'd already kind of like ended some situations, but at the same time, they came back through again, just in this time frame, for the divine masculine to stand up and speak their truth, stand in their own empowerment, and say yes to themselves and not allow themselves to be disrespected anymore. Saying no to the karmic partners. And, you know, when 5 people can come that don't know this and bring this up saying, I feel like this happened and it happened this weekend or that weekend. And, you know, I've had some of these same feelings and experiences. There's something to that collectively. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know, paying attention and that, you know, and a lot of you might be able to be relating with that too. So, all right, so now I'm going to share with you the divine, where the divine masculine is collectively. This is through Champ's Emotions that was picked up on the test that Mariella took. And I'll share a few additional things in a minute. I also did a reading for me and Mariella today that is spot on with all of this, and it was so good. I'm just going to share it kind of somewhere in here, wherever it fits in. So, first of all, when Mariella sent this to me too, she said it's showing up in the emotional balance test. She says she's speechless. She said, before you start to read this, be sure you're sitting down in a stable chair, because she said she almost fell out of her chair while reading his items, his emotional status. And she also said to me that some of these things have never showed up on a report. She's been doing this for a long time, and some of these things have never showed up before. There was also some specific recommendations that had came through some herbal formulas and things like that, tinctures and things that help to stabilize and support the energy. I guess in the United States, it probably might be similar to like Bach, if you're familiar with the Bach flower essence. And I'll share with you what it is. It's I'll just tell you, it's the FES Flourish is the brand. But anyway, I just want to share with you then, she just bullet pointed these out for me. And she had to do that also because she had to translate the report from Dutch language into this language. And so also bear with me because of the conversion of my translation of her writing and me translating it might be just a little off too. So anyway, here's what she says in the bullet points. She says, and we're referring to Champ, but again, remember, Champ is also representation of the collective divine masculine. So he is still convinced and decided of what he wants to do. So where she's going with that is like he's made a decision that he's ready to move forward. he's made a decision that he's ready to make changes, and he's really said yes to the shift here and the energy. And again, also that means ready to face the man in the mirror. So from us on the feminine side, keep in mind, we need to be doing these same things within ourselves. So we need to be saying yes to the journey, looking at ourselves in the mirror. So then she says that there was a product called Grace that was showing up to use for him, that what it stands for is balance of the feminine aspects of the soul, creating an open mind to all aspects of growing in relation with the mother soul of society and the culture. So, you know, in the cultures, we have these paradigms of mothers being in control. I did a video not too long ago about the divine masculine cutting the mother's apron strings here. That's what they're basically doing. Now, I want to say something. In this dynamic, basically, you know, I represent Champ's mother, you know, in this dynamic. So he's learning how the separation that we went on with him going away in his own evolutionary journey here. He's a soul and he has a contract and he has a mission that he came here to do. And I've always known it's very big. Never knew how big until now. But, you know, he's cutting his strings to stand alone, kind of on his own thing, because he's relied upon me for a lot to even bring his mission into fruition. And this is also helping from the feminine side to heal like the cultures and the society and the structures that we're seeing in all these generational curses. And so he's also healing aspects of the feminine diseases. Especially reproductive organs that can be used to help heal. And there's a self-healer, another supplement she had mentioned with the Magenta self-healer. Now, when she told me this, like because of the energy attachment between Champ and I, these are recommendations that would technically be for like the patient being Champ here. But because our energy is attached and I'm in the mirror with Champ needing to also like heal these things between him and I in our reunion, then, you know, it's taking a look at me, what I can do in addition to that. And so I'm actually going to do some of these supplements to help heal some of this soul trauma too. And so anyway, so he's changing his view as a man, and the man's viewing the woman in order to recover how the feminine was degraded, undervaluated, and seeing the respects for their own values again. So this is saying exactly what I said, that the divine masculine is viewing the feminine side of not only themselves, knowing that they need to stand up, that they've been degraded, this is dealing with the unworthiness we're talking about here. And the disrespect that we're also feeling from them is also coming because they didn't know how to respect themselves either. And they followed the patterns of the mothers that didn't have respect. They didn't know what respect is, so they don't know how to give respect. Then you have the divine feminine on the flip side of that doesn't know how to stand up for self and self-empowerment, of not knowing how to ask for respect and to put the loving boundary up versus a wall, and learning how to, so in this case, the divine feminine needs to learn how to respect their own values again. And so that's what like the divine masculine is teaching us through their healing within their divine feminine within themselves. So there's an aspect of letting go of the past here, clearing and purifying for the new beginnings. So in emotional status, so Champ is working through letting go of some of his own past stuff, even including past life stuff she had told me, and going through a continuation of the purification to create new beginnings. Now, I just said to you, we're clearing past. At the same time, we're purifying. At the same time, we're expanding. And at the same time, we are starting new beginnings. We're no longer waiting to clear it all out to start. So this is the message here. Don't wait to get it all gone. Don't wait to get everything behind you before you start. And I've said that too. It doesn't matter where it ends. It's where it starts that counts. So the next bullet point, resolve resistance by opening the mind for new ideas. So being able to view life through the heart, being able to let go of the resistance of change and letting go of those old paradigms, the old thinking processes that we're releasing, and the old templates of that, and the old patriarchs and all of those things. There was also things, she said there was 3 vaccines that showed up in his body and he didn't like these substances. Now I want to bring this up because that is where a lot of the divine masculine really is. They're having chemical codependencies and addictive personalities to chemical substance that are being cleared from maybe not only this lifetime, but in past lifetimes. And any divine masculine that's coming in that's having these chemical codependencies, they are clearing this for the collective. So, and also clearing past life stuff. The next one is controlling the anger and the frustration and not being able to suppress, but exploding sometimes, and learning to release these emotions without them building up and exploding. Now, myself included, and other clients and people I've talked to have had these massive energy shifts in the last week to 2 weeks of anger coming up to be released. And this is what I'm saying here. So this goes back to what I also said about, I even said at that time that anger did not even feel like mine. I was helping to clear that for the divine masculine. And, you know, this is kind of confirming, even for me on Champ's side, I'm sure with his and I's soul connection here, not only am I doing this for the twin flame dynamic, but from my reunion with Champ, clearing some things for him. I know he's doing some of the, you know, when it comes to the female reproductive organs and clearing illnesses for the divine feminine with my history of divine cancer. It's like he's also showing in his report where he took some of that on for me. Mariella told me this when she read his first report. He is helping to clear the cancer for the uterus of the divine collective, divine feminine. And, you know, I run across a lot of twin flame dynamics where the feminine does take on these stored emotions into the uterus, and have, not just myself, but a lot of twins that I've worked with have had uterine cancer based on these stored emotions. So the next one is breaking down walls from the heart and the soul and daring to show vulnerability. So this is divine masculine. They're letting down their walls. They're starting to be more vulnerable. They're starting to show their emotions. And I'm having twins clients tell me that the divine masculines are coming in 3D, getting more vulnerable with them than they ever have. They're opening up. I'm seeing, you know, my clients that are, you know, some of the twins, since this has been going on over the last 2 weeks, are showing up. Just as we've said, that's happening. It's happening. They're showing up. They're coming in vulnerable. They're letting down their wall, and they're sharing what's going on with them. And this is in Champ's report. So it's, and I'm seeing this in my clients. So again, there's disturbances of entities. And let me say what, I'm going to go back because we're mirroring this. That means the divine feminine needs to let go of that divine, heal that divine masculine within self, of letting it go and healing that feminine side in self and becoming more vulnerable to be able to share and open up to, right? This is where we're going back to no longer facing necessarily self in the mirror, and we can be, but this is where we're facing them. What they're doing right now, we need to be doing too. So here's another one, disturbances of entities that are showing up, and that several times protection against these entities has came through, and that there has also been fear of destructive forces. So I want to share with you. So when her and I met to explain some of the stuff, Mariella and I, she was telling me how that, like, because of the destructive forces are coming in for a lot of karmic relationships, that the divine masculine, they're basically, they've been open because they haven't known how to shield their energy. And therefore, now that they're coming up and rising up into this, they don't have the protection that we've learned to protect as the divine feminine and our goddess. And so they're open. And what's happening then, they have karmic partners that are coming in and sending negative energy in to influence the divine masculine. And it's creating fear of like destruction. And they're feeling some destruction and fear from this. And that also from outside forces of like not just necessarily the karmic attachment of sending intentional energy that's a direct piercing energy from that karmic partner of stronghold on the divine masculine, but they're also putting spells, doing rituals, like dark spell rituals on the divine masculine, as well as I was told by one person that the twin, the in-laws of the twin had went to Morocco just to have like these spells put on the divine masculine, went all the way to another country just to have this done. These are strongholds. Now I will tell you, I've had clients report back to me that this has went on with their twin, that they were energetically attached enough they knew what happened because they felt it and they also could see it, and a few of them knew how to even release them. Some of them don't want to touch it because it's beyond where they're at and they want to stay in the light. But I have had clients that this has happened to, and I have had, situations that I've helped with this, and this is bad negative karma, but it does need addressed because this is happening. And this is coming through on Champ's report. So I'm going to be interested to see where this destruction and these dark forces he's feeling are coming up. And then here's one. She said the next one, he desires another place to live. So Champ's ready to come home. The divine masculine is ready to come home. It's just not exactly divine timing yet. There's still more healing to be done. There's still more lessons to be learned. They're still needing to step up and put these things into, I call it, 3 cycles of activating the idea and awakening to it. And then repeating that by actually then doing it again consciously to where they get to put it into practice. And then they have to repeat it again and actually bring it into form. And so this is where I see that these energies are still healing in the harmonic balance of the, it's going to be in 3D, but it's healing the individual self and creating harmonic balance within selves. And the union and the 3D connections again are needed to go back, just like the karmic purges were for healing the karma of making physical 3D connections. But it doesn't mean it's time for the full reunion, but I feel like that the ones that are ready is going to be a mass uniting coming up from 9/22 to 12/22. And we're going to have like 3 waves of it. It's going to come again through the spring and summer, and then through summer and fall. So this is coming dependent upon where everybody is in this connection. Now, granted, that doesn't mean everyone, but I do know that more twin flames from the history of time are merging in full physical reunion over the next 5 to 7 years. So there are also negative cords that are still needing to be cut, and I'm seeing that this in clients where some of the the collective aspect of the collective energy of the reunion. So a lot of the feminine have done a lot of cord cutting. They've let go of the karmic patterns, past lives, things that aren't are still blocking. Now there's another layer coming through, even through the divine feminine, but it's because of the deeper connection energetically with the divine masculine and the merger of that energy that's now doing some another deeper clearing that's also even within the divine feminine is healing the divine masculine and cutting another layer of cords, and also another layer of cords that is blocking the reunion itself from these negative cords. So that's what I'm kind of being told to tell you. This time frame is a time to cut cords again. Okay. There's also a fear of intimacy, learning how to be vulnerable and without pain and fear of getting hurt. again, because I feel like the divine masculine here, they went through so many cycles of the pain as the divine feminine, and that in doing so, it's created these cages. I've been seeing cages around the heart this week. And I know that, you know, this has happened with clients I've seen before, of walls around protection of the heart. So these cages around the heart need to be opened up to let go of the fear of getting intimate and the fear of getting hurt in the past. The divine masculine, you have to realize, though, they're in some deeper wounds because they have a lot of karmic partners that have just left, just released. And some of these have been long-term marriages that I've even seen that have been in 20, 30-year marriages. They're not ready to jump into a relationship. They're really not. They need to learn how to like get out of the, you know, don't go from the frying pan into the fire here. This needs to be, you know, healed like within, and before they have what they can need, what you need, what you deserve. And you need to stand in your own empowerment to make sure that they get that and have that space for themselves before you can expect them to show up while they're still married and with someone. Because they're still gonna, this is still where the roller coaster is coming in. This is still where the ups and the downs are, because of the feeling of this harmonizing between each other, of letting go of the codependency and the need for like fulfilling for the divine feminine filling themselves up externally with the divine masculine, and thinking it's going to kind of just go from the races of being married straight into their own relationship. There's going to be separation in that to heal that and finish that, because the divine will not let you merge in full form until all purification has taken place within individual aspects and past partners. And I'm seeing this with a lot of clients that are coming into some long-term, long-standing relationships. I'm seeing that this is happening with them, of being fully purified before coming into a complete merger, but they're coming down to the finish line here. So, so here, this is Champ. She's talking about here again. He is on a changing point in his life, and he has to make decisions now. So what she means by that is, like, he's right here on the fence. He's on the fence at the breakthrough. All right. The divine masculine is on at the breakthrough, and it's time to choose now. It's either shift or be shifted is really my terminology with that. And so same with the divine feminine. If you haven't made physical like changes in your external environment, it's time to continue to wrap up those contracts with others. Time to continue to wrap up all of the pieces that are blocking you from your own connection to your fullest potential and your fullest freedom. You have to become fully free. So now I will say, a lot of people I see too are in the making of making those things happen, but I'm also seeing that what's happening is the timelines are changing. The timelines are speeding up, and it's happening much faster in the 3D than what they could have ever perceived in the mind. So anything that you can conceive where you're at in the 3D with some of these changes you're making, and whatever timelines you've given yourself, expect that to like come down a quarter to a half the time frame. That's how I'm seeing and hearing is to share with you. So Champ is also a star child, and he brings heaven on earth. And so, you know, we have a lot of this coming through with some of the divine masculine. There's a lot of starseed energy coming through the divine masculine. I'm seeing this with several of them, and not that they're awakening to this identity, okay? And this is how they're now deciding and choosing to bring heaven on earth, means bringing it into form, and they're waking up in the radiant. So this also says he has to close past lives and connect and connections from those past lives. So that's clearing out the current patterns still that I was just saying, and also finishing up any past life clearing. Divine masculine is waking up their identity, so they're just now starting to like really focus on some of this clearing for themselves. The majority anyway. Not to say some of them haven't already done more work in advance. And some may still need to awaken to that. So resolving this resistance to change and the authenticity. So being able to say, take accountability, accept responsibility, and to become the authentic sacred self. Connecting to self here. Divine Feminine, look in the mirror, still need to work on the same stuff. Archangel Raphael came through for healing. So be calling on Archangel Raphael and Archangel Chamuel for learning unconditional love. And also Chamuel helps a lot with like inner stillness and inner peace. So Chamuel and Raphael are coming through really strongly right now in order to ask for healing. The dark night of the soul is past, and there's new light coming through. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. I mentioned it in the last video that I made. And so they're also starting to see that light coming through. And they're learning through this to let go of those old patterns. And so that's what this is saying. Champ's letting go of old patterns that he's done in his own evolution in the past. And his soul star is reconnecting with source. So that means that the divine masculine are starting to awaken, their higher chakras are opening up to bring in that as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. They're still having fear of losing control. Now, I will tell you, Champ is like an alpha male. Champ also has, my ex-life partner asked me one time, because Champ would, like, when he was like learning certain tricks and certain things, he would just kind of shake. And he'd be like, what's wrong with him? Why is he shaking? And I'm like, he's trying to release, surrender control. And Champ is like that. He's kind of, I can see him in that, like the fear of losing control. I know that exists in Champ. I've watched it in him before with different things. And so that's amazing for this to show up. Learning to express himself in a positive way. This is us being able to learn to open the voice, speak truth, do it with clarity, do it with assertiveness, do it from the heart. And so his white light from the higher self is also coming in, and she's saying it's really beautiful. And to there's an English description she mentioned that's in the report. I don't have that, but so resolve incorrect perceptions. So changing perception here. This is important to choose the perception, half full glass versus half empty. The energy of creating and renewing and recreating life. This what I'm saying is, so it's just like destruction must come in order to recreate. And you know, that's what a lot of this is going on with all this energy that's going on with the hurricanes, the fires, the earthquakes that we keep hearing of. All this massive energy shifts that's producing more, you know, shifting in like the history of time in a long time, if ever. And this is all happening based on this energy we're talking about. This is kind of like that, considered that, you know, what we talk about, the fall of Atlantis and the self-destruction and the destruction to recreate. We're in this phase of this tipping point of destructing, you know, so we can construct. So there's a lot of devastation going on energetically for reconstruction, and it's happening down to the level of the soul right now and a collective. Okay, so healing color green was all around Champ. So again, Raphael, Archangel Raphael. So bring in the light green. And I've taken pictures of Champ before and have had tons of green. He always has a big green orb like around him. Also, another portion of letting go of the past and healing that. Champ is sometimes feeling stuck, knowing that he has a goal, but not knowing the way to the goal. All right, so that's the thing with the divine masculine. They're waking up. They know there's something to be done. They know that they're seeing outside of it, but they don't know how to put it into action. They don't know how to bring it into form. They know they're awake, but they don't know how to exactly what steps to implement to make it come into fruition. So Champ's kidney meridian is also was affected here, and it had to do with the safety and letting go of fear and acceptance of self, and learning how to balance unconditional love and joy with acceptance, fear and unconditional love and joy, balancing that and accepting self. So he's missing the female, the mother, and not happy with the father or the masculine. So, you know, Champ's not with me. This is coming from Champ's energy report straight from somebody from Netherlands. So this is also, if we take this to the divine feminine and divine masculine is missing the divine feminine. They want the tender love and care. They pushed that away for so long. Now they're ready to receive it. They just don't exactly know how to get it, and their mind's still blocking them a little bit and moving forward for it. And that's where there's this fine line. So the feminine needs to stay open to receiving and giving love. So, you know, and the theme of this new moon is I love, therefore I am loved. You know, I love, therefore I am loved. So harmony here, give and take, has to be in balance. If you want great love, you have to give great love. And if you want great love, you have to be open to receive it too. So it's the balance of give and take. Love will find you. You have to let it in, which is just what I just said. Okay. So there's another formula of this herbal formula, flower formula here. It's called an Active 8, which stands for helps to remove blocks. It helps positive manifestation, using manpower in a positive way, using positive leadership here. This is activating the divine masculine as I read this, letting them step into their own empowerment. As we, the goddesses, of stepping into our empowerment, the divine masculine are stepping into their own empowerment in doing these things and standing up, speaking their truth, cutting the apron strings, standing up to the karmic partners and saying no, and you know, and standing up for their truth of people and interactions that are opposing their belief system, because now they're learning what their belief system is. Okay, so the next one is let go of your emotions and don't resist. Okay, we've kind of talked about some of these. So then we have the collective consciousness universal. So this is Champ taking on the collective consciousness universally. And I feel like the divine masculine collectively is coming together collectively to do this too. I feel like there's an underlying support for all divine masculine, just like the divine feminine, that links them all together. Like they don't know it, but they are all sort of embracing energetically, collectively on a scale, because look at how they're coming in and doing it all at the same time. You know, it's creating, it's the shift in that that's creating the magnitude of shift that is now also shifting the feminine now. So, you know, here's the role reversal. We've had the divine feminine coming through, making all these shifts that then had to reflect back into the divine masculine, that through the template, forcing the divine masculine to shift the dynamic here in the template. Okay, breaking apart one way, recreating another. So now what's happening with this massive shift of change within the divine masculine, that's forcing back into the divine feminine to get to practice their goddesses, practice receiving, practice being open, practice to like loving life, practice to loving what they do, and helping them get into their missions if they're not already in mission. And it doesn't mean you have, everybody's mission's different, and it could be the purpose. It's not like you have to maybe search for this grand mission. The mission is to love, and that is self-love, and to show up here collectively, because we're all doing this together. It's like we're orchestrating this as a group, and we're no longer the individuals here. This is why it's the return of oneness is all. And then we're all just walking each other home. So the divine masculine is coming together and having a kind of tailgate party here. The divine masculines are tailgating right now. They are. And we're about to see the game, the kickoff. It's coming. It's right here. It's right now. Like we're at the game right now. And it's just minutes away here before this game starts. And tackle's going to take place. you know, and we're going to be seeing these reunions take place on a much greater scale than they already are. So, manifesting miracles she has on here. She mentions that that's also kind of like a Bach flower that like is for healing. Religion issues, creating an error of thought. So here is the belief system of these religious paradigms of breaking that down. And what I've said, one of my biggest collective things I'm doing in my dynamic is to heal the religious aspects that's been templated and to shift that into more higher consciousness outside of the box, spirituality versus religion. And, you know, Champ is a piece of that in my dynamic, and he's working on that healing for his own self as well. The divine angel gives, and the divine angel is also another remedy she mentioned. It gives clearness in unsolved and forgotten patterns of the past to help release the energies of the past, basically. It also helps to support trust and self-love. Archangel Gabriel also came through with Champ for purification of truth and purification of the karma. Speaking truth, seeing a lot of the divine masculine stepping into their being, one of the things is not just clarifying what their truth is, not just being afraid to speak their truth because of past persecutions, which I'm seeing a lot of past persecutions coming back up to be cleared through the divine feminine that's coming through from the divine masculine right now. But in addition to that, it falls deeper than that from the persecutions of being worried about what other people think. So work with Archangel Gabriel to help these shifts with that. Looking for real peace and real relationships. Letting go of the resistance to this. Color orange was all around Champ for his sacral chakra. Open up the divine image and the divine creativity. And I want to say, I just received, and I didn't even realize this, but I just received a message from another client too before this that sent a picture of her aura that she had done today with big clouds of orange everywhere for the sacral chakra. And we had been working on the sacral chakra and for that creativity. And it was also like this cluster of energy up here coming in, being funneled. It looked like one of those figures you see like on the hurricanes, like a cloud of hurricane over top of her head, like ready to be funneled in. And there was specks of yellow in it. That is also, that yellow is to activate those spiritual gifts and creating expansion. And as it is in heaven, so it is on earth, and bringing it in with passion and clarity. There is the desire to stand in own empowerment, but not quite there yet. The grief of loss, and this can be from a person and or a job, home. So the divine masculine are going through the letting go periods right now, and not just loss within what they're going through in their dynamics of releasing. They're now looking within the dynamics of the loss of their beloved that they turned down and feeling regretful and sorry for it, and then facing themselves for that, for feeling like that they let go of the one person that potentially was there that had their back, or that now they're seeing the divine feminine as everything that they may have wanted, and they're being afraid to step into going forward with even stepping outside of where they're at and speaking up in fear of they've already moved on. Inside of you, there is a heaven. So that's inner peace. Seven goddess for balancing the feminine energy. That's really just another remedy, like a flower remedy. Feeling safe in the heart again. And I've already talked about this one. Listening to the inner voice. Coming out of the black hole and dancing with me in the sun. So I will tell you from Champ's energy, I told Mariella this, I knew something was going on with him looking back. There was a time frame before, leading up to this, Champ did not seem as happy as he had always been. I can see it. I could even see it in his eyes. It was so prominent before this happened, with him being like kind of ripped out of my life and creating the soul shock that created the Atlantis healing. I knew something was wrong. Like I just knew. And there's so many pieces to that I won't go into now. But being able to listen to the inner voice of what like that. Coming out of the black hole, accepting self and freeing self from the guilt, but then also the self-criticism of self and being in self-acceptance. Now here's something I found very, very interesting. She said that Champ had around him the earth vortex of a white angel, and that it is the connection with the earth going through the emotions of past lives that are giving problems in this life, and a connection with Lemuria and Atlantis has been made, making a connection with the Akasha, the Golden City, and finishing manifestation of the soul as it comes up at the end of a transformation period. There is no other way than a decision now. Don't fight anymore. Let it go. Manifest. This is the birth of your own power. Wow. Pieces of that, like for one, the white angel came to me 2 years ago. Never had heard of it. I was doing energetic work with my true twin flame, and that's the first experience I had with the white angel. I looked it up. It wasn't anything I could readily put my finger on. It wasn't, the only thing I could find was passing through death, like the death angel. But this was not exactly the death angel. But now what I'm discovering is, because it's came through about maybe 3 to 5 times in 2 years, is it? And now it's coming through with Champ. Is making the connection of our lower self to our higher self in the resurrection, and that the white angel has to do with, now that I, even saying this, is the purification of the soul. So we're still in 3D form, but we're purifying the soul and we've resurrected. And it's like the white angel is helping us through our resurrection and kind of greeting us in this process. And that's letting go of those remainder of past lives. The connection of the Lemurian and the Atlantis energy, I've been talking about that with the Diamond Light, making tons of connections with that. That's also the balance of the masculine and feminine energy. Pulling in those Akashic records. The Golden City, I've been linking a lot to San Francisco. I know why now. I also know it's called the Golden City. And this talks about, I want to say this because this came through for me personally this week, and also even for came through as a reading to share with a client, that it says finishing manifestation of the soul, coming to an end in its transformation period, meaning it's over and there's no other way, there's no other decision, there's no turning back. We're here. Now, I went to San Francisco about nine years ago in 2008, and I was doing a 60-mile breast cancer walk, and I was standing underneath in the middle of the Golden Gate Bridge with my fingers up pointing up to a sign that said no U-turn. And I remember in my life, it felt like there's no turning back where I was at in my life. I was completing a whole circle. Now it's kind of like with this, the divine masculine, they're at a place that there's no turning back. They're crossing the bridge. They're about halfway through based on what I just said. And they're coming on across what I call the rainbow bridge that is connecting to the sacred self. Okay? And rebirthing on the other side. And they need to still go through this before they're totally ready for the reunion. The divine, one thing, it doesn't like the quality of his food. He gets organic food, but all I can think of is the processed foods, and with the vibration going up and all of that, getting the food to be more, I've mentioned this coming up in a video that I was doing that didn't get published yet or edited yet or produced yet, that, the body is requiring more foods that are higher nutrient value, and also to bring and raise up the light, and less processed foods, and sticking more to live foods in order to really activate the DNA within our body. So pay attention to that with your body too. So divine order is everywhere, present in my life. And so they're kind of seeing the signs. This is the point. The divine masculine is seeing the signs everywhere. And the realizing that divine order is in process. And so they're actually seeing that, okay? They're actually seeing it more than the divine feminine is. They're understanding the divine order. They're respecting themselves. Champion, respecting self. Releasing old baggage. They're opening their cosmic heart. Don't be afraid for the unknown. Your transformation is a beautiful path. So also, this to me feels like for the divine feminine, that the divine masculine is saying, don't be afraid of the unknown. Trust yourself. Walk the path of truth and walk the path blindly. This is what you're being asked to do right now. It is a beautiful path when you can do it with your own intuition, your own guidance, and not fighting the process. The divine masculine then is trying to heal while you're doing that. The divine masculine is healing and feeling the regrets and the sorry and the repentance. And this morning, before I even read this, there's a song called singing over and over. I'm sorry. Looking for real peace in an ideal relationship. They're wanting peace in their relationships going forward. They're letting go of the resistance. Okay. So actually, that was the end. I was repeating some of that. Okay. Wow. Powerful, powerful stuff. So now I want to share with you a couple more things. So when I did the reading here energetically based on this, looking at the divine feminine and the divine masculine, this is what I saw that came through. So the divine masculine is turning inward and listening to their inner voice. Okay, they're learning how to. So in the mirror, they're teaching us, because they're doing it. We need to, more now than ever, turn in and listen to the inner voice, not the head. Okay, this is facing the man in the mirror, but also facing your other half, because they're doing this. Now, the divine feminine has become the goddesses, and they're learning to have adventure, play, and have fun, and leave a little trail of sparkle everywhere they go, because they're shining and they're up in their consciousness and they're having fun doing it. So we need to continue to do that and find the balance between going within and going without. Okay? This is going to then, at the same token, allowing the divine masculine, they're shifting into their own sparkle, their own light, their own enlightenment, their own play. And that is going to mean that they're going to be facing the divine feminine in the mirror as they are doing this, so that they can also then start to shine. Okay? That's done kind of as this mirror image that I'm talking about here between the two. All right? Creating the harmonic balance. So that individually they can purify their soul, that they can then stand alone with courage and create inner empowerment to shine like the gods and goddesses that we came here to be, and to live in our fullest potential and our fullest enlightenment on every level with the sacred self, our purposes, and our divine partnerships of this lifetime. We're being asked to make sure to find the balance in this. The divine, and these cards came up in this reading. It's just so beautiful. So the divine feminine has been reading. They're right. They're thinking, let's go. The divine masculine is seeing the picture, but it's in a distance because they still have the gray areas to handle, the shadows, the darkness. So there's still some postponement. You can't wait, friends. You can't wait. You continue your journey. You stay in your own empowerment. You face the woman or the man in the mirror, and you face and don't run from your other half, and stop pointing the finger and anything you see in them that needs to be worked on, that's still there to look within. You look within yourself, not them. Face them. Time to face your other half and learn what it is that you need to learn from them, and be open, willing, and ready to accept that, so that we can release these remaining pieces. That it's the time to sow these seeds and set these intentions, because we're setting the new templates and we're cleaning the slate and we're creating new pictures, and we are bringing into harmony and giving birth to divine love as we came here to do. So I'm going to put a link below to Marietta Albert's website based on these tests she ran, in case you're interested. And I'm also going to all of the remedies for these things that she mentioned that I'm going to be checking out myself. I haven't even had a chance, but I'm going to be checking some of these out. I know that she mentioned to me there's layers, and we're going in layers here. And so like looking at the layer aspect for healing self, then we're coming in and do a deeper layer of self-healing. So the outer self, the inner self within self, and then the grace within that's coming within the balance of the masculine and feminine energies with our other half. Okay. And then being able to, with that, then bridge the body, mind, and soul into oneness of self and with a divine partner. Now, these, a combination of these flower remedies, I'm going to put links that she provided me with that I asked her for. She didn't need it. I said, I want those. I want links to them, and I'm going to share the links. So if it's something you're interested in, you can feel free to research her type of energy testing she does here, as well as her like recommendations that she's made for Champ that really is for the collective. Okay. So that'll be all at the bottom. And she did do a card. I want to leave you with this card. She did a card. This card was for Champ. Okay, the Champ kind of brought this card in, and it was out of the, let's see if I can remember the card deck. It has to do with like the art of color, living color. I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact card deck name, and I wrote it down on another paper. I have no clue where I wrote this, so I apologize. But the art of color. I'll tell you what I do. I will make sure to put it in the description what the name of it is. Okay. So, but she drew number 40, indigo color, and it's to develop your vision, hope to see from the crystal clear intentions, the insight of the mind's eye, so that it can expand your intellectual goddess and godness to co-create together. And let's bring and manifest into form that which is coming through from the higher consciousness right now. And what is in the mind will arrive at the perfect time and in the perfect divine way. So beautiful. This is a message from Champ to myself. This is a message from the divine masculine to the divine feminine. And this is a collective message for the divine feminine to the collective divine, for the divine masculine collectively to the divine feminine collectively. So, urgent message that I was asked to get out there and share with you during this very powerful new moon, equinox, and gateway portal for twin flame reunions coming. Urgent message from our divine masculine to the divine feminine. Make sure to be facing your other half and receive your gift that you came here to receive. Okay? Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the shine. And may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Much love to you. Many blessings. Namaste.